I'm super excited to be here every first and third Sunday starting at 2 o'clock. Thank you for joining us. For all of the new listeners, we say welcome, 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 and thank you for spending the time with us this afternoon. Just want to give you a little background as to what Real Chicks Rock is all about. We're all about the empowerment of women, and we do it through collaborating and raising awareness about the issues that impact us as women. And we have various platforms and vehicles that we do it through. We do it through community service, we do it through mentoring, we do it through our apparel line, the t-shirts. Hey, yeah, we still got those. We're going to launch a new whole merchandise line on that. We'll tell you more about that at the end of the show. And then we do it through the arts. This particular platform, we've been doing this for quite some time now. We're always excited about being able to be here because we talk about the things that impact us as women, and we bring in people that we feel can weigh in on the subject and the matter. Today's topic is leaving corporate America. Yeah, I'm laughing because I work for corporate America by day. Even though Real Chicks Rock is my nonprofit, I still fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, I still work for corporate America. So when I met this young lady about a couple of weeks ago and we had a conversation about her background and the things that she does, I was really excited, and I said, I want to bring you on the show because I want to talk about this. Oftentimes we have this job and we go to work Monday through Friday. It takes a huge amount of our time every day that we go, but it provides the resources that we need so that we can exist and that we can live. But for some of us, there's something else inside of us that keeps gnawing at us. It's a passion, it's some spirit of entrepreneurialism, and we're trying to find how we can activate that full time and make that work for us. And we're going to talk more about that as we get into the conversation. For today, my guest is none other than Lisa Maxime. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background and where you're from.
So I am originally from South Carolina, a rural area in South Carolina. I served for 11 years in the United States Navy.
Really?
And then I did 11 years as a federal employee at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta. And I struck out to do the entrepreneurial journey July of 2018.
Wow.
So it's been about a year or so, and it's been filled with a lot of learning curves. And so I'm grateful that you invited me today to talk to people so that if they're thinking of going this route, I definitely can share my failures, my ups and downs, and help them prepare better for it.
Awesome, awesome. Did you attend college or you go from school?
Yes. So I, like I said, I did 11 years in the Navy. After I got out of the Navy, I did get my degrees.
Okay.
So I have
I heard a plural, so more than one degree?
Yes.
Degrees. Okay.
So I have a bachelor's in human resource management. I have a master's of health services administration degree, and then I have an MBA with a concentration in project management.
Oh, that's a lot. You're heavy already. So Lisa, share with us, how did you first get your start in corporate America? You remember your first job in the corporate life?
I do, and I will say it was the CDC. More so.
Okay.
Because I did, like I said, do the time in the United States Navy, came right out, and then entered into the CDC as a contractor at first, and then spent about a year and a half as a contractor doing inventory for the Strategic National Stockpile, and then became a federal employee after that, and did a lot of policy work.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So when you were contracting, did you feel that you still had the ability to navigate your career, or did that change for you once you became a full-time?
I feel like it was definitely insight into where I could go within the CDC, and gave me a lot to aspire to and try to create a strategy to get to where I wanted to go. So it definitely was an entry into what I could possibly have as far as a career in the federal government.
I say that because oftentimes there's still a population of people that still, they're younger, or they could be middle-aged, but people still feel like they need to go to college to get to that next level. And so I just wanted to just kind of call that out, that you did go to college, you get some degrees, various different degrees, and then you got your opportunity. Did you feel that you were in high demand because of the degrees that you acquired?
I wouldn't say that. I think more so, I want to say that the outlook on degrees, while it's still important, I think is shifting because I think the way we are employed is shifting.
Okay.
The way we look at the workforce is shifting.
Right.
So I don't necessarily would say today you absolutely need a degree.
Okay.
I will say you need to have knowledge of the area that you're going into, and you need to know how to produce results.
Okay.
More so than anything.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Yes.
That's a fair thing. So Lisa, when you started working, were you doing the thing that you wanted to do career-wise?
Absolutely not.
I tried.
Absolutely not. I entered into, it's so funny because when I was in the military, I did a lot of supply chain work.
Okay.
So a lot of inventory, a lot of ordering, which was not what I wanted to do. But for aircraft, and when I came out of the military, I knew I needed to get a job, and all I could think of was Lockheed Martin because they used to provide us with our aircraft parts when I was in the military. And so I applied for a job for Lockheed Martin, and they called back and they said, hey, we have this contract with the CDC. And I'm thinking, the CDC? What is the CDC? Like, it wasn't even on my radar. And so I was hired and I got in, and like I said, I was still doing a lot of inventory management, which I did not like. But I knew that there was another part of CDC that I would possibly want to be a part of, which was the policy area.
Okay.
And so I started kind of mapping my way on how I could get myself from being in inventory to being a policy maker. So I took a lot of classes that I thought would give me skills that would translate into that area. I took a lot of job assignments that I thought I could use that would have things like forecasting and planning and things like managing programs, those types of things. So I kind of mapped my way into getting to policy.
And it sounds like you followed a script in your mind.
Yes.
Like you figured out how to maneuver, how to move, because you want, like, oftentimes we all want a career.
Yes.
Right? We don't want to just go to work and show up and get a paycheck. We want some form of advancement.
Yes.
And it may not necessarily have to be in management per se, but we want to do something different.
Yes.
We want to kind of build our skills.
Yes.
And we just don't want to feel like we're just going to work, right?
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Okay, because
I agree.
sometimes when we're at that current situation, if that relationship has to end, whether it's our choice or theirs, due to layoffs or changing a department or organization, we want to make sure that the time that we spent at the existing company, we got enough that we needed, that we are a value add, right?
I agree.
To the next opportunity or position that we go to.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So now you're doing the policy work. Are we in the place that we envisioned for what we wanted to do for ourselves? What do you say?
We thought we were in a place.
All right. Okay.
We thought we were in the place where we wanted to.
Okay, so we're doing
we thought
this.
We had arrived, but we had not arrived
So
yet.
what happened for you, Lisa? What hit you?
I think what I realized once I got to policy is the people who create policies, they are of a certain mindset.
Come on. All right.
And of a certain background that just did not mesh with who I was, in my core.
Okay.
I am a creative. I feel like you need to give me a task and let me run with it. I don't feel you need to stand over me and see if I'm doing that task.
Right.
Especially at that, because by the time this is happening, I'm in my mid 30s, early 40s.
Right.
And I've been in the workforce enough to know what needs to be done, when it needs to be done. So just give me the task and let me go. And that was not it. And so that's when I started dreaming of freedom, which was entrepreneurship. Yes. Yes. And so I started trying to figure out, how can I get myself there?
Right.
How can I get myself? Because a little more to go back to where I'm from. I'm from rural South Carolina, where you really get you a high school diploma, and you go work in the factories or some manufacturing plant somewhere there. Okay. So my family is very large, but I will say my sister, it's maybe 4 of us who have a college degree. Degree. And so a lot of them they would have been like, oh, you just need to be where you are and be, settled. And so I did not have any entrepreneurs in my family. I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship, but I did have dreams of just doing my own thing and trying to figure it out. Luckily, God started placing people in my life, like my good friend Ray here, who is in this studio. She is an entrepreneur. She is, so just talking to her and, dreaming and going over those things like, oh, I want to leave. What can I do? And so my thoughts of entrepreneurship was either you were a plumber or you were an electrician or you were a florist or caterer or daycare. And I wanted to do none of those things. None of those things. So, during one of my stints at the CDC, I actually went to a different department to do some work, and there was a young lady there who was on a contract with the CDC, and she was a freelance writer. And I said, freelance writer, what is that? And she kind of gave me an explanation, and being the researcher that I am, I went home and I researched everything I could find about freelance writing. And it changed my life, because I was like, I've always been good at writing, but I'm probably dating myself a little bit. When we grew up, prior to the internet being as big as it is, a writer meant you were writing novels. I didn't want to write a novel. I didn't want to be, writing novels or murder mysteries or anything of that nature. But the internet has changed the game as far as content and how it's needed and how it's provided. And so when I found this out and I started researching, and there were people who were making a really good living online.
We're going to talk about that,
And I always laugh and say I felt like that episode of The Jeffersons when Florence was like, wait a minute, you live here and you live here? How did we overcome and nobody told me? I felt like, how is this happening? And I did not know about it. And I started digging into how I could start off as a freelance writer. So this was in 2014, 2015. And I was still at the CDC. And I just started taking little jobs on the side, writing blog posts for people. Writing bios for people. Just kind of putting myself out there that, hey, I'm a freelance writer. And my friends would say, well, hey, I got somebody who needs a resume or somebody needs their LinkedIn profile. Or can you do that? And from there, I just started to grow. And I started to read more. And I started to just research this thing. So I got to the point where I kind of am now, where I do copywriting, helping people just communicate their brands, the value of their brand to their customers, helping them learn how to market that through writing. And so, it was an evolution.
Were you afraid? Were there any fears about just starting?
No, I don't think so. I'm one of those people where I feel like I know when you start anything new, there's a period of adjustment and a period of growth. And so I knew that I was going to go through some hard times maybe in the beginning. And I prepared myself as much as possible, but I knew I wouldn't stay in that place. I knew eventually you may hit bottom, but you always come back up. So I was okay with, and that's the thing I think most of my associates, friends admire most about me is I've never really had that fear. I left the Navy with 11 years in, and people were like, you're crazy. What are you going to do out there? You only have 8 more years till you retire. And I just felt like
8 more years.
Yes. And I felt like, well, you do know there's more people on the outside than in the military. I'll make it happen. Yes. And when I left the CDC, same thing. You have 11 years. You only have 22 more before you retire. And you will have this check. And I just felt like, I may not even make it to 22 years. And I just don't want to leave this earth thinking, what if I had done this? What if I had done that? So a lot of my friends always say, you're so brave and bold. And it's not that. I just feel like to not get out there and see what's on the other side is just, it would be such a disservice, not only to me, but to God for these talents that he's placed in me if I don't use them, So I just get out there and pray that I fly. Sometimes I fall, but luckily I'm able to get back up and keep it going.
So, excellent. I just want to say this. Oftentimes, we just don't know how to start. Sometimes we don't even know what our gift is. Because we may have a bunch of different ideas in our mind. We don't know how to get things going. So how could, just a suggestion, how can one get started in something?
One thing I can say is research. People don't like the research.
That's true.
I've learned that a lot. And I don't mean surface researching. I mean, sometimes you do have to go down that rabbit hole. You do have to see what else is out there and just look around. The internet, I cannot say enough. Google was and is, YouTube, those platforms are phenomenal if you take the time But for me, that meant, maybe not going out. Maybe I spent all Saturday night researching.
Say that again. Say that again.
Maybe I spent all Sunday searching, but I did do researching.
You mean you weren't binge watching things either? You mean you sacrificed?
There was a time and place. I did binge watch. I won't say I didn't, but I knew that, okay, this is important to you. You can't do this right now.
Okay.
You can binge watch. Maybe you binge watch during Christmas break.
Okay.
And then you just look forward. It may be August, but you say, okay, in 4 months I can't. There's a lot of stuff like I haven't even I'm not even up on.
Yeah, because you're researching. You're going down rabbit holes.
Yes.
For your career.
Yes, you have
passion.
to, because the information is there. And I think a lot of people don't realize that the internet has changed the game so much.
Yes.
The barrier to being an entrepreneur or getting out there or getting started. How do I get started? The information is all there. You just have to look for it. And it may take you a little more time than you want, but it's there. And that's how I learned how to be an entrepreneur. I pretty much, like I said, started with one word: freelance writer. Everything I needed to know about freelance writing came up. And so I think I spent the first 6 months just freelance writing. And then I realized, there's different types of freelance writing, and there's different types of ways to build an online business. There's different types of ways to promote online marketing. What's a copywriter? How does that change, what you're doing? And so I just kept going down those. And I think that's probably why it took me a while, because like I said, this started in 2015. And I didn't leave CDC until 2018, and I'm still, on this journey. But it took a while, to get the foundation.
But that's not bad. That's like in 3 years, and I want to get to that 218 point. So, was there an exit strategy for you, Lisa? When 218 got here, that's when you decided to leave. But was there any additional planning in place for you before you left?
Well, I would say 2018 was not the exit. It was originally 2016.
Okay.
Then it went 2017, and then 2018 came around, and I said, you know what? And this is not for everyone. This is just my personality.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. Take this with a grain of salt. I tend to be more of a procrastinator sometimes, or overanalyzer.
Okay.
So I felt like for me, CDC was kind of holding me back. I wasn't pushing the way I wanted to, because I still had that net. There was a lot of things that I would say, I'm going to get done. But then I'm like, I'll do it, later. Because every 2 weeks that check was still coming in, So 2018, I said, you know what? When the kids go on, right before school starts again in 2018, I'm going to be out the door. I was like, and Lisa, you're either going to fly or you're going to fail. But either way, you're going to have to make it, because once we close this door, there's no coming back. I had to set that limit with myself. I'm not saying that you have to do the same.
Right.
That was just something I had to do. But prior to that, yes, I did, I think around 2017, I started, kind of like paying off some stuff. I started trying to see like what I was spending, how I was spending things, and looking at stuff of that nature. So I will say, yes, definitely make sure your finances are up to snuff where you got that. Or if not, at least get a part-time job or something to get you going, or know how to get clients, because that was the big thing. But yeah, but that doesn't mean I didn't stumble. I feel like sometimes people think if you plan, everything is going to go perfect.
Right.
And that's not the case. Sometimes you can plan and things still go wrong. But I think the good thing is just learning how to bounce back from that. Right. Learning that even if I fall, I got to find a way to pivot and go another direction. And so I did a lot of pivoting and adjusting last year, but it's paid off.
Yeah, because you're doing it. So what do you do today? How did we meet?
So we met by our good friend Donna.
Donna Hogan.
I love Donna.
Donna Hogan.
Donna Hogan, an Atlanta realtor.
That's right.
Yes. I met Donna at a business networking event in Kennesaw. And she and I spoke. I exchanged numbers with her. We went to lunch a couple of times. And she has been my biggest cheerleader, which is so surprising because I think on this journey you really realize how much you need people.
Yeah.
She tells everyone about me. She'll be like, I told such and such about you. I'm like, thank you, Donna. Thank you.
Yeah.
So she said, hey, I got a friend, Michelle. I think she could use your help. Reach out to her. And I reached out to Michelle last year.
Yeah, she did. So
last year.
Yeah. So I'll pick it up from here. So, yeah, Lisa reached out to me, and for those of you that have iPhones, you have contacts you know, and then you have contacts you don't know. So Lisa was in the don't know side of my phone, and she sat there for a long time. I was like, okay, yeah, Donna told me
a year.
Donna told me that she said she had this person was going to reach out to me, call me, but nothing happens before it's time.
Yes.
Because I wasn't ready to have that conversation.
Yes.
Because today Lisa focuses on marketing strategy, strategic marketing and planning and that type of stuff. And I was not ready to have that conversation. So this year, like an epiphany, and as we always trend towards the end of a year and start a new one, you always want to shake up how you do things. Some people call them New Year's resolutions. I don't really do that because I feel like you're always evolving every day.
Agree.
You should
I
be.
agree.
You should be. And
I
then
agree.
when you are, air quotes, entrepreneur, or when you run your own business, your planning for the new year happens a quarter before the year is even into flight. So I don't feel like it was a New Year resolution. It was, I think I'm ready for this, because in looking back, now one thing you do at the end of the year, you always look back. I look back and I felt like the brand wasn't where I felt it should be.
Yes.
So I made that call. So I called Lisa, and we talked for like an hour and a half or so, and it was like, the heavens had opened up, and we were supposed to have this conversation. And the timing was great because the things that I was asking of Lisa and the things and the information she was able to provide, if I had called a year sooner,
I wouldn't have been ready.
She wouldn't have been ready. The conversation would have been different. So I don't think I procrastinated.
No.
I think it's a sense of knowing when the time is right for you. And I say that for those that are listening, that it's never too late to even just stop and make an assessment of what you're doing. Because oftentimes we have this business, right? And it's an idea. And we do have our cheerleaders, and they tell us and they encourage us, and we're doing this thing. But it's not maybe generating the growth that we wanted to have. And growth could be audience, participation, support, finances. It's just not getting where it needs to be. I think you owe yourself the opportunity to stop and just kind of figure out what you're doing and how you can improve some of the things that you're doing right, and some things that may be stagnant and not moving, you need to try to resuscitate and figure out how to do that. So you may have to change some of the people that are in your circle, or increase your circle that talk a little differently to you, like strategic planning and marketing and advertising and just different things that will help get the brand to a different level. Now, the thing that I had liked about Lisa is that she had this way, or this niche of working with people like me, because I came from the genre of the more degrees you have, the better you are, right? So I have a master's, and I have an MBA, and I was an adjunct professor, and I taught, and I had this career list, and you go and you do all these things that you too will get promoted. Well, my scenario in corporate is a little different. So even though I'm out here vibrating with the nonprofit and we got this entrepreneur thing happening, there's something about me that hasn't quite translated in corporate, right? So I've not got the success story that I wanted from myself, right? So yeah, it's good. We make money, we get it, we pays the bills, and we're thankful for that. But I am not fulfilled in corporate America. I'm not. And something went off in me in a couple of years that said there has to be something else. So this entrepreneurial bug has gotten me. And so I'm on this fence, right? I always commend all of the people that were like, that's it, I've had enough, I'm going to do it. Some were forced to do it by a layoff. Sometimes they've just lost their job, and they had no choice but to really, as you say, just fly and make it work. I'm still in that space of, I have all these things that I have to do, and I have to do it, but then this job pulls me. And it takes a huge amount of my time just to get there every day is a thing, right? Because that could be time invested into my business. Just then the things that I have to do for them, and it's a constant battle. It is, but you can't do it unless you're ready. So the finances have to be in place. Maybe somebody has to put their blueprint on my back, like, get out. You got to get out and do it, because then it's a sink or swim situation, right?
And that was my situation. I definitely had to put my foot, as they say, as the young kids say, I had to put my foot on my own neck.
Yeah.
And it was like, you've got to do this.
Yeah.
Because I was feeling the same way. My commute to work was like an hour and a half
it's crazy.
each day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was just one way.
One way.
That wasn't talking about the afternoon. My kids were in extracurricular activities. I was getting home, literally having enough time to change out of my corporate wear into like some jeans or something and take them to their practice where we were there until 8:30 at night. Then stop by, get them some fast food, and then hop home and hope we can get homework done and get ready for the next. It was crazy. And I was just telling myself, like, you have these gifts, like you have this knowledge, you know what you're talking about. You just need to believe in yourself. And I will say, though, for anyone who is considering entrepreneurship, do not underestimate your mind, the work that you need to do on your mindset, because we've been trained that, you know, we go to these jobs and everything is laid out for us. You know, your job description says you only do certain things. They already have protocols and processes and systems in place, and you just follow that blueprint. When you're an entrepreneur, everything is on you. You are the content creator, you are the marketer, you are the CEO, you are the accountant, the bookkeeper, you know, you are your PR person. You are all of that. And so it can be overwhelming to get your mindset around, okay, I need to get this done. And then you're battling with your inner self because it's something new. You've never done it before. And your inner self is saying, who do you think you are? Like, you can't get this done, and you don't know this, and these people already know that, and why are you going to put that out? And that was my situation for like all of last year. Even though I knew, I'd talk to my friends and be like, you just need to do this, this, and that. And they'd be like, oh my God, you know so much. If you look at my social media profiles, or you look at marketing for last year, there was none, because I was battling with what I was looking at on social media as what I thought was successful, and not me, you know, me. And so put your blinders on, put your head down, and just do the work.
Yeah, I think the thing is that I still struggle with, and I think some other people struggle with too, is that what is it that makes your business unique, right? So why would people seek you versus what's already out there? And that's always a reoccurring nightmare for me, because it's always trying to have a clear definition of what that is, that it just translates by itself. And so that's one of the things that, you know, you got to be honest with yourself about. One of the things too, as we talk to some of the people that are listening that may be on the older side of the scale, like I was saying, we were conditioned to go to school, go to college, get these degrees, have this career. Having a business is not the way to go. Like, work for somebody. Let me say that again. I'm gonna lean in on the mic. Work for somebody
and get your watch after 30 years
to 25 to 30 years. Exactly. You get a watch, maybe get some flowers. You didn't even get that. And it's for like half your entire life working for someone else. I think those days of doing that are gone.
They're leaving
for the most part.
They may not be gone, but they're definitely leaving.
That it's just not. It's so unfulfilling to go and work for someone else. Totally agree with you with the fact that you come into work, you are a seasoned professional, and it has nothing to do with age. Because if you have the experience, you're seasoned. So I don't want people to feel like you got to be older. If you have the experience, you're seasoned. But what you don't have the tolerance for is somebody micromanaging you as you're at your job every day, because they pay you. It's a service, right? You come in, you do the job, you get paid for it. You don't need somebody to instigate that relationship that you have between yourself, that role, and that paycheck. But that's that whole leadership. People have to get promoted, and it's this whole corporate hierarchy that exists. Got it. What I tell people is, when you work for corporate America, write everything down, take what you can get, because they're not in the business of failing. They're in the business of trying to make money and to succeed. And you could take that same framework for your business and be successful. For example, we don't do contracts, some of us, in an entrepreneurial world.
And I got lucky with that. At work. I actually got lucky with that. I did a lot of contracts for CDC. And at first I was like, oh, why do you put me on this? It's such a headache. But now when I talk to people, that's another area of my business I plan to expand into, because a lot of people don't know contracts. They don't know how processes. They don't know systems. And being though I was in two of the most structured areas, you know, government and military, that's something I definitely can bring to the table. But I just want to tell people also, even if you don't want to be a full-time entrepreneur, the days of having one stream of income are over.
See, that's right.
It is over, and you have got to find another stream of income. So even if you are a part-time entrepreneur, I beg of you to find something to supplement your full-time income, because no longer can you sustain off one income.
You can't.
I have a girlfriend I was talking to just last week, and she was telling me her husband was laid off last year. Luckily, he was only laid off for 4 months. But these are people in their, you know, mid-30s. They have responsibilities, you know, and there's no backup from that. At least if you have something, and at least if you learn how to do passive things that are passive income, you can have something to like put back and save for, you know, a rainy day. So yeah, definitely look around your job, look at how the structure of your company is, and start trying to learn those different pieces and have that in your back, you know, your back pocket. Because even if you're just consulting, helping somebody build something that you have already, you know, that is being done, whether it's business development or marketing or IT or something, you know, you can offer that to people. And I think a lot of people get it mixed up too, because your market is not just local. Your market, it can be global with the internet. And that's why I'm so big on online marketing, and why I really wanted to help those of us who are, I would say, ages 40 and up, or maybe even 35 and up. A lot of them have successful businesses locally, but they don't know how to take that online and use an online presence and build from there. And to me, that's because we need to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're kind of set in our ways. I'm going to speak on myself sometimes. I'm going to help the people that's listening. I know this is what you're thinking. This is what you're saying. I'm set in my ways. I don't want to do that. I got Facebook. That's enough. I don't want. Let me tell you something. There's money out there that's happening that we are not privy to because we're stuck in our ways. You cannot do business the same way from 10 years ago. You have to change the dynamics. You have to change how you interact with your audience and with your business. That's the only way that you're going to be successful. There's this whole thing called digital products. Lisa taught me that. Digital products, and there's ebooks, and there's videos, and there's so much webinars and things like that. Online courses. There's so much stuff that you could do in the privacy of your own home, and then market it online. That's a way that you can have a passive income or another stream of income, and you build that up and get it to a place that it releases you or creates the freedom that you need, that you can leave corporate America. I think I'm helping somebody today.
Yes, you are.
Helping somebody today.
You are. And just to drive that point home, a lot of people don't know the online learning space is projected to be a $325 billion industry by 2025. That means more people are turning to on the internet to learn skills, whether it is public speaking, whether it is basic business writing, whether it is accounting, the fundamentals of accounting, the fundamentals of digital marketing, wherever people are turning. And when you think about it, those people are not just in the United States. You know, United States is considered a powerhouse when it comes to business. And there are a lot of people from other countries that want to learn what we have to offer. So don't sleep on the strength of building online courses, you know, or just putting yourself out there online. Because what I get from a lot of my friends when I try to bring them into the 21st century with social media marketing is, I don't like to be on I don't want to put my face online. I don't want to put my business out there. I don't, you know, because we grew up, what happens in the house stays in the house. And that is hindering a lot of us, because just going back to your point when you said, how do you make yourself unique? You know what makes you unique? You make yourself unique. Your quirks, the way you speak, your cadence, the things you say, who you are, your family, that makes you unique. And people are nosy, but they are paying big. The people who put themselves out there are seeing a great return on loosening up themselves, and hey, this is my daughter, she's going to college, you're an internet auntie or internet uncle. They are monetizing on that. You are your brand. You are your brand. So you need to build a personal brand.
Yeah, I think you just have to get comfortable with whatever criticisms that will come. Because when you open yourself up, people will always have something to say, right? Whether it's a positive or a negative. You didn't ask for it, good or bad, but they feel if you put it out there, they feel that they have every right to say something about it. So you have to be comfortable with that.
Yeah, and I agree that a lot of people, that's what stopped them. I will say I was one of those people. My kids, on the other hand, was like, when are you going to record us? When are you going to record us doing things? And I'm like, no. But I realized that a lot of the financial struggles I had last year was because I closed that part of myself off to people. Because there's a saying in marketing, people buy from those they know, like, and trust. If they don't know you, they're not buying anything from you. I know quite a few social media influencers, and I'm always talking to my friends like, did you see such and such? They made 100,000 last month, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, who are these people? But those are the people who put themselves out there. And if you think I'm kidding, there are people making 120 plus a month. I've seen people make 400 and something a month just from the fact that they've grown this tribe of people who everything that they put out, they buy. Because they put themselves out there, they're transparent in what they're doing, and they're helping people. Now, of course, you got to be helping people. Don't be out there trying to scam people.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice if you're helping the folks.
But make sure that you're giving them information that helps them in some sort of way. And if you're sitting saying, what can I do? I don't have any of these abilities or skills. Think about the fact that you are doing something now somebody would pay you if they could just skip the process and you provide them that information. So if you're a realtor, somebody wants to know how to pass that real estate test. Somebody wants to know how you studied for that test. How do I market once I get into real estate? Right. How do I set up my marketing materials? Those are things you can easily put an ebook together and say that. And I talked to Michelle about this. She runs a nonprofit. Somebody wants to know how to start a nonprofit. How do you navigate that paperwork? And so that's definitely a stream of income. So there's always someone who wants to know what you know. Yeah. And so you just start from there and you start documenting things that you think can help people. And when you're thinking about it, think about it. People want things that save them time, save them money, and helps them to get, to whatever dream it is they want. Whether it is, I want to be able to create content without being stressed out, or I want to be able to have clients and not go on this feast and famine roller coaster. How do I do that? So there's definitely ways that we can supplement our income or even become an entrepreneur.
I'm always selfish. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to do better. If you had some questions for Lisa and you wanted to call in, if you had some comments, call 470-251-4343. That's 470-251-4343. I wanted to say this too. Oftentimes we think we know everything. We don't need any help. We know what we're doing. We got this. You need to surround yourself with some people that know things that you're not that familiar with. Like, I thought I knew a little bit about social media. I don't know nothing on social media. That's why I got a nice intern. I got some assistants helping me because I have to learn. I've learned that I cannot do it myself. You can do it, but you will exhaust yourself trying to do everything by yourself. And there are people that can do things seamlessly. You need to try to get those people around so you can learn, or they can try to help you do some of this stuff, because you can't do it all. There's so much that we just, especially if you're still in corporate America, because again, the title the topic is leaving corporate America. If you have a full-time job, you can't possibly do everything by yourself. But what I want you to do and realize, if you're really serious about your endeavor, your dream, your passion, your career, you got to invest the time in it. So your days will be long. You will go to work and you will come home and you're spending hours working on your business, because that is where your heartbeat is. That's your passion. I find myself, I can't wait to get home because I want to work on Real Chicks Rock things. So you find that you're not getting enough sleep that you need, or you're getting up early in the morning, you're trying to do, you're doing on your lunch hour, you're taking a lunch break, doing whatever you can to try to thrive and develop and grow that business. We don't want you to be discouraged about that, but you got to have a plan.
Yes.
Think about your strategy. How would you leave? When would be the best time to leave? When the kids graduate high school? Is that a good time? Is it 2021? Give yourself a year to really properly plan and save. Do you have to have 6 months saved up in the bank so that you can still pay your rent or your mortgage? I mean, you still have responsibilities, and we want you to be cognizant of that, because nothing is, you're not going to be successful in just doing it by a whim and a prayer. But if you have this thing, you need to support it with the proper education, the due diligence, as Lisa said, doing the research, understanding, trying to get as involved in it as you possibly can to see if that's the win for you. And you'll be surprised. You go in one way and you're evolving and you're realizing there's so many other things that you want to do. Oh, I think we got a call.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for calling Real Chicks Rock. Who's on the line?
Hello, ladies. This is Donna Hogan. How are you?
Hi, Donna Hogan. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm enjoying the show immensely.
Good. It's because of you we're together here today, Donna. Thank you.
Hey, it's all about sharing the love and connecting people who can, like you said, get us what we need and how we want to get there. So one of my questions for you today, Lisa, was, now that we're talking about people either being an entrepreneur, doing multiple streams of income, if they want to retain your services and they're not quite know how to do all of that, do you have like a structured plan? Do they have to retain you for a month, 6 months to get them where they want to go? Or do you have, how does that work?
Well, definitely, all of the plans that I do when I'm working with someone is customized. It's definitely going to be dependent upon your goals, what objective you're trying to reach, and how quickly we can get there. I will say most plans at the least is going to be at least 3 months, because you need at least 90 days of working a plan to like really see change. So if I was working with you on social media, it would definitely be at least 3 months. That way you can track, where you were in the beginning, look at our analytics, see how we've grown, see how your audience has grown. So definitely give yourself time. So working with me for a month, if you were doing social media, is not going to be, I think, conducive to what you're doing. But it doesn't mean that you have to, it doesn't mean that I'm with you every day, but it's check-in calls. I'm definitely one of those people who's always checking in, like, how you doing? You need anything else? What's going on? So I definitely like to check in with people and keep a pulse on their, how they're growing and see how they're achieving their goals.
And I'm assuming they're going to have, your clients are going to have assignments that they also have to do the work. You both can meet the goals together, correct?
Donna likes assignments.
Let's go back. I'm glad you said that. Yes, when you're working with something, when you're working with someone, I will say, realize that it's not all on them to carry your business. They can only give you the strategies, but if you do not work those strategies and those plans, you're not going to get anywhere. And so I see a lot of people get strategies and then they say, oh, it didn't work for my business. And you're like, well, did you do A, B, and C, and D? Oh, well, I felt like I didn't need that piece or whatever. I'm putting together a strategy for a reason for you. And so you have to do your part. And so, yes, definitely. Thank you, Donna, for bringing that up.
Okay. Well, that was my question. Continue on.
Thank you, Donna.
Have to get together.
Yes, definitely.
Thanks, Donna.
All right. Talk to you, Michelle.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
She's absolutely right. You got to do the work. When talking to you, I was overwhelmed.
And I felt bad. I did not want to overwhelm her, but I wanted to give her enough information that she could make a decision. But I did tell you, disclaimer, you do not have to implement all of this stuff at once.
Yeah, thank you,
It was mostly a plan so that she could see different ways that she could maneuver to where she wanted to go. So I gave her a lot of information because
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and my team said, because I was
your money's worth, right?
Yeah, I got my money's worth, and then some. But I had to step away from the desk when I got that. I couldn't do anything for the rest of the day. But then like a champ, because we're not quitters. Sometimes you have to take a break and come back. So I did come back, and I did start looking at some things, and there was some, my suggestion would be too, is to gravitate to some low-hanging fruit, some things that are some quick wins, or some things that you can implement or change really quickly, because that builds up your momentum and your confidence and trending and going in the right way to deal with the bigger issues. So there's a lot of opportunities in my strategic marketing plan that I have to work on. I have a lot of work to do. I got a lot of work to do. It's so much to do. It's going to be fine. It's already fine.
You don't have to do all of it at once.
Yeah, I just have to remember, because I'm task oriented. You put it in front of me. Okay, I got to do this. Got to do this, and I have to realize everything can't be done in the day. And you don't want to burn out. That's the other thing too. That as an entrepreneur, you will burn out because you feel like you have so much you have to do. So much is riding on it. You're trying to be in multiple places, do multiple things at one time. You have to figure out some kind of work-life balance.
I agree.
Even as being an entrepreneur, sometimes you just have to put it on pause, not totally ignore it, but take a break from it, incorporate some time with your family, some me time, whatever it is that you need to do. Even binge watching. I laughed about it earlier, but sometimes you just got to do what you need to do, and then you can come back with a fresh perspective. Because I say to every entrepreneur that I know that has successfully left corporate America, and I encourage them, I say, don't go back.
Yes.
Do whatever you got to do to not go back.
And the pull will be strong. I will admit, there was times, especially in the first couple of months, I was like, what in the world did I do? Let me go back. And I promise you, with all of my degrees, I must have applied to I don't know how many jobs, and no one would call me back.
That's when you
And when I did have an interview, nobody would hire me. And I felt like it was God stepping in and saying, nope, that's not what I have for you. The only reason why you're not going where you want to go is because of you. Because I've given you everything you need to succeed. Everything you need is inside of you. Every time you talk to people, they tell you how much value you bring to them, how much information you give them, how you know your stuff. And so I'm not going to let you go back into that, because that's not what I have for you. And so then I had to really start looking at myself like I was doing a disservice to God, because I asked him for entrepreneurship and I prayed for it. But I admit, in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. So I wasn't working as hard as I should have been. I wasn't as structured as I should have been in some things. And so it was me. It was me in this mindset, and I had to get over that. But I'm ready to rock this year.
She's ready. She said,
I'm rocking this year.
She's ready to go. She's ready to go.
I'm rocking this year.
So how was it for you in 2019? There was some more evolution or some more epiphanies that happened for you, Lisa. You mind sharing a little bit of those?
I have a lot of epiphanies. One is, we were not put on this earth to do this by ourselves. You have got to get over yourself. It is not that serious. If you need help, ask for help. Ask and let people know you're struggling in ways, and just getting over fear. You can feel fear, but you can't let fear stop you. It's okay to feel fearful. It's okay to say, I don't know how to do this, but you have got to keep moving. You got to do some type of action. And making yourself uncomfortable. If you want to grow, you've got to get uncomfortable. Like, this was uncomfortable. I'm having fun now, but and looking forward to doing more of this. Call me back, girl.
They love it.
But prior to this, I was like, oh my God, I can't put myself out there. But you limit yourself, and you have to realize everyone started somewhere. No one came out knowing exactly what they were doing, and that's why one of my favorite podcasts is How I Built This, and it is such a good podcast because there are entrepreneurs who talk real how it happened. Like Sarah Blakely, she'll tell you she knew nothing about Spanx at all. Her mom drew her prototype. Mark Cuban talked about how he was a serial entrepreneur and he failed at many of his things until he finally got it right. So I would say to anyone, it's not perfect. Like they said, done is better than perfect, because I'm a perfectionist, recovering perfectionist. But just get it out there and tweak it as you go. And so I had to learn that, not to be perfect, done is better than that, to not let fear stop me, to get out there regardless of how I felt, to ask for help when I needed it, and to be patient with myself, give myself grace. This was something that I wasn't doing before, because I really went through a process where in corporate America, everything I did worked.
Right.
You know, first time up. Like, I just studied, it worked.
She was
but
one of them.
no, it didn't work like that in the entrepreneurial world. And I had to realize that sometimes you just got to go back to the drawing board. And, this is probably the biggest thing. Make it simple. Keep it simple.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
Okay. That works.
That's it, yeah.
That helps. I'm going to say this. Even though times have changed, there still are no shortcuts in certain things, correct?
Correct.
So even though social media is a wonderful tool and platform to get you out there, get your business, get exposure, get the followers and all that, do you still need a business plan? What say you, Lisa?
I say yes. Yes, you do. It provides a roadmap to where you want to go. I mean, you're looking at your competitors and how you can set yourself apart from them, and you're looking at the growth of the industry, and you're looking at the trends, and you're saying, okay, pretty much if A doesn't go right, well, I want to prepare for B. You know, so I do think you need a business plan. And okay, yeah, I'm going to be honest here. I didn't have one in the beginning.
Okay, that's fine.
And I think that's why I struggled so. But I did step back and say, okay, girl, you got to do the fundamentals. You can't skip steps. Because remember, I told you, I know this.
You got this. You got this.
That applies to other people, but not me. But no, you need a business plan. And you definitely also need to remember to cultivate relationships. Just like we talked to Donna. If it was not for Donna, a lot of the people that I've serviced over the past year or so, it wouldn't have been possible. But because you cultivate those relationships, so you get out into the community, you go to the business meetings. Every town has at least some sort of business association. So you talk to the business association. If you're thinking about it, going into entrepreneurship, shadow entrepreneurs. I shadowed a couple of entrepreneurs before I left to kind of get an ideal of their day, what they were thinking, how they handled situations, how they solved problems. And they were so gracious to allow me to shadow them. But and that's a part of that, all of that research, you know, that goes into it. Because that saying, what you don't know won't hurt, is a lie. It is a lie. And we need to send it back to the pits of hell from where it came from. But yes, definitely just research and get your business plan together. Take that time to research all of those, your SWOT analysis. You know, what are your strengths? And be honest with yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Where is there opportunity for you? What are the threats within? And just take that and work with it.
It's no different than the work that you do on yourself, right? We have to do the self-assessment. Like, we look at ourselves for relationships and our career, and even now for our businesses. And you have to do the work first, right?
Yes.
You have to look at yourself and say, what am I good at? What am I not so good at? What are my opportunities? How can I improve? What threatens me, right? What kind of makes me feel uneasy? It's the same thing that you do on a personal level, similar to what you got to do from a business. Understanding your competition, what's out there, what's the market, what's your target audience. It's all of these things that we don't really like to talk about because we go, you know.
Because it's a lot. And let's go back to that target audience. Please know who you're talking to, know who you're serving, because that follows into your marketing. How do you do your messaging? You know, how do you talk to them? The words that you use when you create your marketing messages. All of that stuff is relevant, because if you're saying that your audience is everyone, you're talking to no one, as they say. So if my audience is, like I said earlier, I stated 35 to 40, I'm not going to be on Snapchat or TikTok with my marketing, because they don't know that. I mean, they barely, a lot of them barely know, Instagram for business side. So I will be more towards LinkedIn and more towards Facebook, and trying to pull some of them into Instagram. But you really need to know your target audience, because that shows you where, how you can talk to them, where you can find them, what interests them, what doesn't interest them, and it just really helps to set you apart.
And I think once you identify that, it's going to help. I don't think that people will stay away from you. They're going to
you'll still have outliers. Yes,
you're going to have people come to you more, because once you're clear in determining what your your barriers are,
Yes.
then people are going to be like, okay, I see what it is, and then I can
Exactly.
then gravitate to it even more.
Right.
For the brand Real Chicks Rock, we struggle because it seems like women that are a little more mature follow, but there's a whole bunch of millennials that I'm coming for. So
we talked about that.
So we talked about that because it's information, and we feel that
Yes.
we can help
Right.
the younger ladies just as much as we've helped the older ones as well.
And it's okay to have more than one target audience. It doesn't mean that you can't have one. It's just that the messaging for one may be a little different.
Yes.
Like if I was targeting, the women 35 and up, maybe some of the my content would talk about the Golden Girls, we talk about, I make references to the Jeffersons,
Yeah.
we would talk about being in the house before the street lights were on, we would talk about different things
Yes.
because that resonates with my audience. Whereas if I was talking to a younger demographic, a lot of them, it's so funny, I don't know if you saw a couple of weeks ago when they had the LSU Clemson game, they were talking to some of the players and was showing them some older stuff from the 90s, and a lot of them didn't even know stuff like who was Nas and what was AOL. So I wouldn't talk about AOL with a younger group because they don't even know what AOL is, But my older people, we would remember dialing up and sitting there waiting for AOL to dial up and to get on,
the modem
So
shake
yeah,
and
that's
everything.
why it's important to know who you're talking to. You don't want to alienate them, and then also things that you may not even think about. If you are, talking to an audience, a certain audience, maybe they don't celebrate Christmas, so you don't want to put a lot of Christmas stuff out during that time, or maybe they are, feel a certain way about certain parts of politics, which I really suggest you should stay away from, if possible. But I mean, it just depends on who your audience is, and so that's why it's very important to know who your audience is so you can get your messaging right.
Very cliche question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Is it ever too late to leave corporate? Is it ever too late to start your own business?
Okay, I say no, but I'm a rebel here. I mean, some people may feel, okay, let's say if you had 2 or 3 years before retirement, that might be a little, okay. But I mean, I feel like if you just get to the point where this is just really burning inside of you, I say go for it, because you don't know if you have 2 years left to retire,
That's
you know?
true.
And
That's true.
I'm just all about, when it's time for me to close my eyes, I have no regrets. I've lived life. I've given it my all. Some time, some may work out, some may not, but I say no. It's never too late.
Based
Never.
on your experience, Lisa, I wanted to ask this. You've seen more seasoned or mature type of entrepreneur versus the younger. Is there much of a difference in the way that we take risks?
I say
business?
so. Yes, I say.
Talk about it.
Okay, I know millennials get a lot of flack, but I tell you, I am in awe of them because they doing it. They've changed the game. They're pretty much the ones who have taken the internet and have changed the game. And I feel like older entrepreneurs will learn a lot from them. And I feel like because we are hardworking, not saying that they're not hardworking, but we're more educated, we can definitely take some of the things that they are doing and make it our own.
Okay.
And make it apply to, our generation. Like for me, I'm an outlier with my friends because I do know a lot about social media. I am like, did you see such and such just brought this house, and girl, my friends have no clue how to use social media for business at all. But because of me, hopefully they will see that, okay, there is value in this, and they will try it for their businesses, because I mean, they have great businesses, but just think about how much better it could be if you just took that one little piece. But yeah, the millennials, oh yeah, they're killing the game. I mean, and
it's because of the connection
the connection and opening themselves up. Yeah, being very transparent, and not taking themselves so seriously. I think we take ourselves so seriously. We grew up, you had your church clothes and you had your outside clothes, and you had to look a certain way, and you had to speak a certain way, and you had to make sure that you're not splitting verbs, and
Yeah.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They
They will get
themselves.
up there and they say what they want, but hey, it makes other people, resonate with them. They gravitate towards that. Oh, okay, she's imperfect like I am, because sometimes there's such a thing, and I think for our generation, we kind of put on airs sometimes. What happens in the house stays in the house, and act a certain way when you get outside of these walls, but inside we're a hot mess inside. Ooh. But millennials let you see I'm a hot mess outside and inside.
And
but I'm putting in the work. Yeah, but I'm putting in the work and I'm doing it. I don't quite know what I'm doing, but this is my dream and this is what I want to do, and I'm going to let you see my failures. I'm going to let you see my faults and my flaws. And I think a lot of the older entrepreneurs, we feel like we can't show that side of ourselves, and I feel like it's doing a disservice to making you be more human.
I can't. There's nothing else I can say on that. I'm gonna end on that. So Lisa, what's next for you? What's going on with you?
Well, what's next for me is just building brand awareness, which is what I'm doing today. Hopefully you guys will follow me on social media. Yes. On my Instagram is at Lisa, Lisad Maxime, Maxime. And that's pretty much my platform all across.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So any speaking, any books?
Hopefully more. Yes, I'm excited about this. I'm hoping that I can use this interview that I was so graciously invited to get some more speaking engagements, because I'm really passionate about, especially my 35 and up, using this platform to grow their businesses and attract their clients. I hear so many people saying, I can't get clients, or it's so hard to get clients, but you're not showing enough of yourself. Yeah. They don't know who you are. You come and say, buy my stuff, but they don't know much about you. Yeah. I mean, if they knew that you had, 3 kids and little Samantha needed help in college, they may be more, they may be more apt to buy your book, your ebook or something like that, because people really want to help. They really do. They want to support you, but they just need to know, what are they supporting? Like you and I talked about Real Chicks Rock, and I was saying, like, what are they supporting? If you're asking for donations, what are the donations? People need to know that. They need to know, how are you going to use the funds that I give you to accomplish this? And so I think, like I said, older entrepreneurs, we just need to open up more. We need to embrace the social media thing, because it's not going anywhere. We need to get ourselves in front of cameras, no matter how you think, I don't look, I need to do my hair, blah, blah. Get in front of the camera. Open your mouth and let them see the real you, the country accents, the, New York accents, the whatever, so just be you, and that is the only thing that's going to separate you, is how you draw people to you with your personality. Because you're right, everybody's doing everything. And so the only thing that is going to separate you from everyone else is you.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. That was very informative. I hope you guys got that. This was good. This was really good. It was good for me when we met. It was very transformative, because I believe I'm still on edge, because I got so much.
But you're not by yourself.
I'm not by myself. I have so much to do. Lisa's on Instagram, Facebook.
Yes. And Twitter. So Twitter is Lisa D Maxime also. And Facebook is Lisa Maxime.
Okay, yeah. So if you guys have some questions, we did shout out the phone number. This is our time. But if you have some questions, feel free to email Lisa or slide in her DM.
Yes.
Ask her some questions and get some of her services, because she's really, really good at what she does. And I think it will shed light on your business and how you think and see things and view things, and start to think about passive incomes, and just really start to put in place the things that you need so that you'll be able to leave corporate America one day when you're ready to.
Yes.
Right? That's my time. You guys know me. I am everywhere. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook as Real Chicks Rock. I got the website, realchicksrock.com. Go check it out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We're on Pandora. We're on iTunes. We're on iHeart. Just get at us and follow us and subscribe. Leave comments when you watch the videos. We like that. That boosts up our ratings. We like that, so we'll move up in our search engines and that type of thing. We want to be around. We need you to help us to be around. So that's it. Until next time, you guys take care and continue to rock on. Bye.
Bye.